pushed reforms across the board. Fairer taxes, government loans for the poor, new degrees in law and science, breaking down class barriers in the name of economic efficiency. With growing threats on its frontiers, the state had an enormous defense budget. One thought a more open society would make the economy work better. The Confucian classics, the old way of doing things, were put in their place. They had to have practical application. And of course, the old-fashioned Confucian bureaucrats were horrible. And they took their case to the emperor here in the palace in Kaifeng. The emperor favoured the reformers. But the conservatives in his council saw root and branch reform as potentially destabilising in uncertain times. In the winter of 1070, great conservative opponent of reforms, Sima Yuan, petitioned the emperor. He said, "We don't need these new laws. What we need are good men trained in the old ways." "Look at the last 1500 years of Chinese history," said Sima Yuan. "You'll see the periods of peace add up to only 300 years in fact. This shows how hard it is to create order, how hard you must work to keep it once you've got it." And he ended with this: "I fear at the moment that our hearts may not be able to shelter our nation from the rains and the storms that are to come." It's one of the great what-ifs of history. At this point, towards 1100, China could have become the first modern society, with the most egalitarian system of government anywhere before modern times. Why that didn't happen was due to events beyond their control, which would eventually overwhelm them. The last 50 years of Song China saw climate change and famine, and the incessant drumbeat of foreign armies on the frontiers. The mandate of heaven was not yet lost, but the harmony had gone. Resources. Public opinion wanted defense spending, not grand building projects. The achievements of the Song dynasty for 100 years were amazing across every field of human endeavor. The last great emperor of the united northern and southern Song came to the throne, Huizong. He was a Renaissance prince, surrounded himself with poets and thinkers. He was an accomplished painter. In his wonderful gardens, he listened to symphonies by Buddhist musicians. But as he plunged deeper into his introverted speculations about sacred kingship, he lost touch with reality. When much harder choices were needed, choices about military expenditure and defense budgets, and the deployment of armies as the barbarian forces gathered on the frontier. And when the crisis came, as he himself admitted, I myself was mediocre, and in the end, failed the nation. Song shared the East Asian landmass with many other states, and in the 1120s, Jurchen invaders swept down from the north. In 1127, the siege of Kaifeng began. It's one of the greatest, most poignant tragedies in Chinese history.
Okay.
Just imagine the scene. Thick snow swirling down from the sky. On the horizon, the gate towers of the outer city are on fire. Many of the houses are burning. And here, inside the walls of the inner city, are hundreds of thousands of terrified citizens of Kaifeng, still resisting hopelessly. The food's run out, the markets are empty. There are rumours even that people are eating human flesh. And the government now try to buy off the invaders, but there are no cards left to play. When they give gold, the invaders want more. They want millions of ounces of gold and silver. They want precious silks and fine wines. They want antiques, temple bells and ritual vessels. They want the musical instruments played by the imperial orchestra. And they want people. They want craftsmen, but especially they want women. They want the ladies in waiting, the imperial palace. They want the 1,500 female musicians who used to play before the emperor. They want the wives and daughters of the royal family and the courtiers and the leading citizens, all to be delivered to their great camps to the north and south of the city. And of course, many of those women committed suicide rather than go. And so the city, which symbolizes the very best that civilization had yet achieved on Earth, was brought to nothing. In a bitter poem on the government's incompetence, Li Qingjia reflected on the catastrophe.
50年古, an age of glory passed like a lightning flash. The troops of the northern barbarians appeared as if they had dropped from heaven. Tartar horses paraded in front of your banqueting hall and trampled pearls and emeralds into the fragrant dust. What a waste of time it was, great artists, to carve your name into polished cliffs. The mandate of heaven passed from you, but you didn't see. Times change and power passes. It is the pity of the world.
And thousands of his courtiers were seized and taken north, where they died in captivity. But his brother fled beyond the reach of the invaders across the Yangtze River. Vast numbers of refugees followed. Get a great sense of a Chinese medieval village from here, don't you? The big difference would be that today the houses are made out of brick and concrete. Then they would have been wooden-framed, wooden-fronted houses like those old ones over there. The people here were not scholars and bureaucrats, they were boatmen and dockers and warehousemen. And among the millions who fled south was the poet Li Qingjia.
Those who lived in the west of the Yangtze River Basin fled east. Those in the north fled south. Those in the hills fled to the cities. Those in cities fled to the hills.